Hey, let's talk about constantly apologizing or over apologizing, and why is this maybe a trauma response? So, some of us we used to overuse and to constantly apologize even when we didn't do anything wrong or we didn't said anything wrong. And why is that so why can this over apologizing appear in our interactions in our daily life? And what does it mean actually that over apologizing it is a trauma response? So I would just try to explain, but not get into the deep trauma part. So like deep trauma part. And let's just look at this as a whole, as constantly apologizing or over apologizing. So when we had maybe traumatic experiences in the past, or we had a traumatic childhood, or caregivers or parents who were themselves maybe deeply traumatized or using certain substances. They were maybe addicted to certain substances. So when we have when we have actually experienced these life situations in our past, well, they trigger a response from our nervous system, and also these responses can translate into patterns when we actually reach the adulthood, and when we actually get to build relationships, adult relationships, businesses, when we build our careers. I think these aspects have like many consequences. I would say consequences, or like many implications in our daily lives. So when we actually used these patterns so many times, like maybe overly apologizing to keep the peace and to remain in that survival mode where nobody can harm you, it becomes a self-protection. It becomes a tool for self-protection. So we use this tool to protect ourselves and to protect our surrounding and our environment, maybe in the family system if we are a child, or in our relationships dynamics if we are adults. And I think this is somehow acts as a blockage, I would say. When we want to create authentic relationships, when we want to show up as ourselves, it is very hard, or maybe even impossible, I would say, to just create authentic relationships when we are blocked in this state. It is a state of, I would call it, is a state of freeze, when we don't want to expose ourselves, because we are afraid of the consequences, we are afraid of generating conflict, we are afraid of taking up the space that we actually need to be just as we are. Because what does it mean to be authentic? Because we use it as a cliche. Yeah, you have to be authentic, you have to be authentic, and you have to be authentic. Yeah, sure. What does that mean anyways? From my perspective, it means that actually you show up as yourself, as your true self. What does that mean? Well, that means that, I don't know, if I don't know, if I like drawing, if I have this artistic side, then I show it also in my daily life. Or I don't know, if I go on dates and maybe someone, potential partner, has like, I don't know, other type of hobbies, I can actually just own it up, that okay, yeah, I have different interests, but yeah, we can make this work. And it's not the like over accepting and just minimizing yourself, no, and maybe apologizing for it later in the relationship. It is actually embracing who you are. So let's get back to this topic. Constantly apologizing. And I heard, and I also have like listened to a podcast where I have heard that it could, so this over apologizing, it could be a symptom of OCD, maybe. But I would say that it's more like a stereotype, and OCD is much more complex than, we cannot actually reduce to this, yeah, over apologizing. Yeah, so it's much more complex than that. And how can we just listen to our inner and guiding system, and just before we actually apologize, I would just ask myself that question. Okay, what happened? Did I do something wrong? Was somebody impacted of this happening, of this experience overall? And how can I be more compassionate, if I can, towards myself, by actually just taking some time, like a couple of minutes, to just deep take a deep breath, breathe more deeply, and to just be here in the present, because I think in the present moment we actually can self-regulate better. Okay, if you like this video, please then just hit the like button, and you can share it. And yeah, see you soon. Bye.